I will focus on citation and trying to give you some statistics. This paper is co-authored with Professor Jamal Chaouki. I am a visiting professor at École Polytechnique de Montréal this year. So with the information provided with other speakers yesterday, and I think I can skip some slides. So the importance of metrics is clear. Today, all decisions in universities from recruiting to tenure, ranking and funding are based on metrics, or were making such feeling, at least for the faculty members, that they should go in that direction. So H-index, as mentioned, is used to rate the citation and the publication of a researcher. Is, of course, the one invented by Hirsch 15 years ago. Is very well received, is a very popular tool, and among best measures. Based on a paper written by Hirsch in Nature, he identified some unintended negative consequences of that H-index. Some of them are favoring older researchers or lumping verified and unverified science, and not suitable for mentoring. I have put all references in the pages, and I will hand you the PowerPoint. You will find the detailed information. If let me give you an idea about the H-index. Within 20 years services, successful scientists can get H-index of 20, outstanding 40, truly unique 60. These values are only the averages. In order to get promoted to associate professor, something around 12. And for a full professor, around 18. These are only the typical values, and just even in the literature, you maybe agree or not with that. But let's go to H-index 3. We have numbers and citations are integrated together. I'll try to give you some global statistics on numbers and some information on good practice in citation. Regarding the numbers, if you ask the head of departments, dean of colleges, you will be said having 1 or 2 papers per year for a normal faculty would be fine. But it's not easy to find a written document on that. Regarding the citation, we have 2 elements in citations. One, I call it diffusive, which it goes naturally. The other one is convective. We can increase our citation through various ways, through linking open sources. I call those ways of increasing the citation appropriate. But there are some other ways. We are putting people under pressure in order they practice or they manipulate the citations. I'll give you some examples. Let's look at this interesting paper published by Nature last year. Nature have tried to identify those individuals who publish a paper every 5 days. It means 72 papers per year. You see the reference here. It's a very well prepared paper. So the scope, it's based on data from Scopus, looking at the authors with more than 72 papers per year. Over 9,000 authors are identified. Nature mentioned that there is no evidence that these authors are misconducting. From 9,000 authors, 7,888 authors published in physics journal with large international teams. In some cases, the members of those teams can go up to 1,000 members. So the Nature mentioned that their definition of authorship differs from the normal definition. Since they have started some big network and big projects, they believe that whatever comes out from this network, it belongs to all. So the Nature excluded those authors from the list. From that list, about 900 Chinese and Korean authors are identified, but due to similarities in name, the Nature excluded those names as well. The remaining authors, 265, the Nature emailed those authors to know the reason or the philosophy behind their approach to publish such huge amount of the papers. They got 85 response. You see next slide, in this slide, the feedback they have provided. 10 feedback: hard work, love of research, mentorship, leadership, extensive collaboration, working on multiple projects, availability of resources and data, culmination of large projects, personal values, and sleeping only a few hours. You see 10 points here. You may be agree or may not be agree, and some may be in conflict with the standard definition of authorship. Let's look at from this study from 2002 to 2016, the number of prolific authors, hyper-prolific authors, jumped up to 81 from 4 times 20. We see a big enlargement in the numbers. The reason could be due to finance structure in the university. If you look at this figure, the paper really costs too much. For engineering, you need to spend around 70 to about 80,000 in order to get a very good paper. If you want to have, let's say, 10, 15 papers published, you need to run a big team with budget around 2 to 3 million per year. It's very difficult to go running such a big team. Let's look at another study. Yeah, in this study conducted with participation of 5,575 people on self-citation. the excessive self-citation is considered as a mode of malpractice probably in citation. You see the results are interesting. About 40% are saying citation-based metrics should exclude self-citation. About over 25 saying researchers' self-citations should be reported, transparency. About 15% saying journals should set policies. You see here transparency and also the policy making. From this slide, we can conclude that the excessive self-citations could be a serious danger to proper citation. Let's look at this one. This is also very interesting figure. Data based on data of 7 million authors. Author is defined as an individual with over 5 papers. The data are obtained from Scopus. You can find the paper in the Nature. If you see here in this self-citation figure, the x-axis shows the year of the author's first publication. And as we see in this figure, there is excessive self-citation jump for early career researchers. For me, this area means that we have putting excessive pressure on those early researchers, and those faculty members started last 10 years in the universities. In order they cite whatever they can, whatever ways they could do to increase their citation. Probably universities are not really putting the pressure in reality, but they are making the faculties to feel in such way. This is a very dangerous. I again see it in the context of fragile finance in the universities. Universities probably are pushing faculties to cite or produce more papers. The same pressure goes to students, and overall universities are thinking that in this way they could recruit more students. They can, with this way, improve their finance. Look at another study. This is also could be a big area of concern. This study is conducted, again, published in Nature, conducted by Nature with the participation of over 4,000 people. The question was here, the question is here, it's clear. Have you ever felt pressured by peer reviewers to cite superfluous studies in your work? This means that have you cited papers under pressure? About 66% responded yes. This means that 2/3 of authors are under pressure or feeling they are under pressure to cite whatever papers recommended by peer reviewers. Let's look at the actions. A scientist was removed from the editorial board of the Journal of Theoretical Biology for citation abuse. What was the problem? He asked authors of dozens of papers. he was editing or reviewing to cite a long list of his publications, sometimes over 50. You see there's some malpractices or putting people under pressure for citation. Last week, I have seen a paper in Nature. The publishers are started to think for algorithms to detect citation hacking. This is also important, I think, with the power of big data algorithms, deep learning, machine learning, we would be able to look at the citation pattern of individuals, groups, and universities, at least in order to provide more transparency on citations. Let me come to conclusion to save time for questions. The metrics are data-driven. We know that there are some fragmented efforts reported, presented yesterday and today with some presenters created to track scientific impacts, publications, and citations. But those indexing organizations are mostly doing those things through labor, the labor intensive. Their data are protected, non-transparent, and they can't link to each other. We might also think for different ways of counting the citation. If, for example, for a small team with 2 members, they put a time to write a paper with 2 authors, their paper, when cited, it can be counted 2 times for 2 authors. What we have seen, for example, in the study I have presented, among 9,000 authors, 7,800 are participating in a very big team. Yesterday, a paper presented with 5,000 authors. When cited once, it can be counted 5,000. So this means that we should think for that, probably thinking for fractional citation, weighted citation, or some sort of the retracking of citations. As a conclusion, I think cohesive international efforts, standards are needed in order to clean databases from bad citations, to ensure fairness, because this highly affects the faculty life. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I think I kept the time.